Hello and welcome to Farmspace. So we're at the Ram and Bull auction here in Ermelo, and I've got Allan here from Versveld Beefmasters. So he's going to be chatting about the breed, what made him selected in the beginning, and what makes it so special. Allan, welcome to Farmspace.
Thank you.
So chat to us about Versveld Beefmasters. Where are you guys? How did you start? What's your story?
All right, my story is simply this. I started Beefmasters as a hobby. And with Cornel Jansen van Rensburg, I used to run a couple of cattle there with him. And every year I'd have a bull or two, and a heifer or two, and the herd got bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden it wasn't a hobby anymore, it was more than a hobby. So I bought two pieces of ground in Volkslust, one for my son, also Allan Versveld. He was a pro golfer for 10 years, but decided to go farming. And he's been involved with me, fortunately, because he's young and there's a lot of activity that's needed on our farm, as you know. Everything's got to be done seasonally as you go. Okay, your question is, why did I go with Beefmasters? Well, it was actually by default. I had a farm in Standerton which I sold to my daughter who's a dentist. They moved on, and I had these 4 Beefmasters, and the guy told me there's a farmer down the road here that's got Beefmasters and he'll help me. So I went there and it was Allan, and he brought the 4 to the farm, and that's where that started developing. Then he started mentoring me, with all due respect, even at my age, started mentoring me on the good things about the Beefmaster. A Beefmaster's probably got 20% more beef carrying capacity than any other beef breed. But
Yes.
Every breed will have their story. But you can go and look up all the stats wherever you want to, and Beefmaster's right up there with the best. That's number one. The second thing is they're as tough as nails. There in Volkslust it gets to minus 19.
Yes.
That's cold. Believe me, that's cold.
So that's what you look for in the breed as well.
Absolutely. It's got to be able to adapt to the conditions where it's at, and it's got to be able to produce a calf every year, which these animals do. Okay, then I started getting good semen from prominent breeders. Then I started getting good bulls, better bulls from prominent breeders, including Cornels, who's one of the most prominent of the prominent. But I had Bos Blanco, I had Vio Wendell, and my herd's genetics started improving. And I found that very pleasing. Thirdly, the Beefmaster community is a fantastic bunch of people. Honestly, they're so friendly, they're so helpful. There's no jealousy, there's not much politics there. Everybody works together, they try and help you. And then the breed's got a name, it's got a brand.
Definitely.
I worked for Shell for 30 years, and 16 years on my own with Cecil, so I've had 46 years in the oil industry, which I'm still involved with. And brand's very important. You know, if you see Shell, you know it's good. It's not only the biggest company in the world oil-wise, but company bigger than General Motors for many years. And Beefmaster is the same thing, it's got a brand.
Definitely.
And if you look at our latest prospectus, you'll see how the Beefmaster breed is growing. More and more Beefmaster people are buying Beefmasters, and more studs, and moneyed people. So I mean, bulls are going for 1.1 million, 1.3 million, 600,000, 500,000, 400,000. That seems like Mickey Mouse money now. In the old days, like 17 years ago, that was huge bread.
And that's the sort of growth that you want within your breed.
Exactly right. You've got to be able to adapt, as I said. When it comes from wherever it comes from, it's got to be able to adapt. And number two, it's got to have a calf every year. And they've got very, very strict guidelines and rules in the association. You know, if a cow doesn't meet certain criteria, then then she has to be put down or sold or whatever. But DQ'd, let me put it to you that way. Deregistered.
So Allan, you've been in the industry for 17 years now.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you've learned along the way, and what sort of mistakes have you made along your journey with the Beefmaster?
All right, what have I learned? Well, I knew nothing when I started, so I've learned everything, thanks to the guys that have mentored me. And the one thing I have learned is that you've got to buy good cows. You've got to start with good genetics. Mistake I often made was I kept everything. You can't do that. You've You've got to judge them, you've got to adjudicate them, you've got to see if they meet certain criteria and keep those and sell the rest. So that I'm doing now. And then the bull that you get, or the semen that you use, that determines the quality of the herd. That has an impact on your herd. And that's what I'm focusing on now. I'm getting the best semen that I can afford, and I'm getting the best bulls that I can afford. And that's the real secret to it. Your cows are good. I buy cows that cost 30 grand, 36 grand, 50,000. And then I marry them to the best bull that money can buy. And I with a vet, had the vet in Ermelo, outstanding vet. And I had a high percentage last year, well between 50 and 60 and 86% calving rate. This year's been a bit different. Mainly, I think, because of a lot of rain we've had.
Yes.
Calves are slightly smaller. I think the rain has sort of leached out the ground. So I've got to subsidise there and put in high protein licks. But that's the main one. A cow's got to produce a calf every year. It's as simple as
End of the day, it's a business.
That's a business.
And Allan, if you can sum up the Beefmaster breed in one sentence, what can you give us?
Reliability.
Reliability, that's all you
It
need.
can go the way. It can stand the pace. It can run the race. It can finish the race.
That's all you need. Allan, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So there you guys have it. That's Allan here from Versveld Beefmasters. So the Ram and Bull auction will be going live at 11, so make sure you don't miss it. Until next time, cheers.